Good morning. It's February the 25th. I have no particular place to go. This is just going to be kind of a random walk around the neighborhood. After some fresh snow, which we got yesterday, it snowed quite hard, actually. A little bit coming down now. There seems to be a touch of hoarfrost on the trees, too. So it didn't really stick on the roads because it was up around freezing. So it melted on the roads, although it's probably icy on the roads in spots now. And but it stuck everywhere there was already snow, so it looks quite a bit wider. It's just going to be kind of a zigzag thing, I think. Make it as it's not really random, I guess, when you do that, but it feels random. Quiet Sunday morning. Temperature's about -6. I don't know what it's going to today. Probably up around freezing. It's late morning. It's just after 11 now. This afternoon, I have to work on music for Wascana Voices. We have rehearsal tonight, so I got to go over all the songs we're working on tonight and make sure I'm solid. Spent the morning putting up the latest episode of the World Shapers podcast, which you can find on this YouTube channel. This one features Marie Brennan. She's a Hugo-nominated author. And we were talking about her latest book called The Market of 100 Fortunes, which is third book in a trilogy she wrote set in a game world. The game is called Legend of the Five Rings. I don't know anything about it, except what I learned from her doing the podcast. But it seems to be set in a kind of a fantasy Japan. Good morning, Yvonne. It's foggy this morning, too, a little bit. Yeah, a lot of ice in spots. Sidewalks are generally pretty good, but not entirely. So I'll have to be careful. As I said, this is just a random walk around the neighborhood on a kind of a lovely wintry morning. There's more hoarfrost than I thought there was. A bit hazy, a bit cloudy. I like those kind of mornings. There's some sort of winter storm coming through the province tomorrow, and I think in Edmonton you're already getting it or about to get it. Ooh, that's nasty. I don't think we're supposed to get too much here, but up Saskatoon they were looking like 10 or 15 centimeters, which is a lot. And the trouble is I have to go to Saskatoon sometime this week. So I'm going to be keeping a careful eye on road conditions before I commit to driving up there. The creek, of course, is directly ahead. Down at the end of this road is the dike. I think I'll just stay on looking at the sidewalks on either side. I'm just staying here in the middle of the road as a car comes along. The idea is to kind of zigzag within certain bounds. One bound is the creek. The other bound would be Elphinstone or Pasqua. I'm not sure which. I think that car is likely to turn this way, so maybe I will get on the sidewalk. So it's not too bad here anyway. It's these driveways that are killers because everything slopes down. They have ice and they have snow on top of the ice. And every time I've fallen on one of these walks, it's only happened twice that I've gone down really hard in 2.5 years, but that's 2 times too many. It was on a driveway, the end of a driveway. Yeah, we're only supposed to get a little here, and maybe some freezing rain. I'd rather have the snow than the freezing rain. Then it turns cold for a couple of days, then it starts to warm up again. But it's not spring yet. Someone asked me that the other day. Is winter over? Well, I think you can see that it isn't. Turned quite a bit whiter yesterday again. Very pleasant temperature, though. I like this. Is very nice temperature for walking, if you're dressed for it. Oof, 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 oof. There's an ultra modern house over there. You can kind of see that big white block. Don't know when it was built, but it's very, very different from anything else in the neighborhood. This house has been considerably expanded from what it once was. I think that's where the dog is. Well, this works out because if I zig down Cameron Street here, I'll end up on the dike. We can walk along the river a little bit, the creek, and then zigzag back down. That's where the footbridge is that I usually use to cross the creek if I'm headed in that direction on foot. Obviously, since it's a footbridge. I forgot my scarf. That was stupid. My neck's cold. Very nice house that was, I've watched it being built on these walks. It was just beginning when I first started walking. Now people have been living in it for quite a while. Big lot, big backyard. We have a basketball hoop back there, so probably kids. Really nice house. I'd love to see inside it, but I don't know them, so it's hard to arrange that. And inside this one over here, it's very cool 50s vibe in that one. More ice. Careful. Okay, we're not crossing the bridge today, but we will walk along the creek a bit. This is the southern boundary of my random walk. Good morning. Trying to read it. Anish, good morning. Go. Here we go on a walk along the creek. Walk along the creek, a walk along the creek. Here we go for a walk along the creek. Doesn't ring. Scan. I don't hear anybody in the bowl up here that kids like to toboggan in. Kind of surprised after the fresh snow yesterday. It's over here. We'll see it in a minute. I suppose I could argue that I should zigzag that way, but I think I'll stay up here for a little bit further. Here comes our first dogs of the walk. Hello.
He's pretty. It's more than most.
Oh, there's somebody down there. Little ones with a parent. Very little one. Anyway, this is a tobogganing run. Now, usually there's enough snow there's snow on the other side too, but you can see how the sun has been melting on the sunny side of the street. I usually walk on that side of the creek, but not always, obviously, since I'm here now. There's the tobogganing bowl. It's really some sort of flood control feature. Maybe I'll come up. Well, though, to be true to my plan, I should really zigzag down now this way. And get off the dike, but I'd rather walk on the dike, I think, a little bit further. That house has grown a lot since I used to live on Garnet Street right there. It was much smaller when I first moved there. There's quite a few new houses since I lived on that street. That's the real pathway over there. There's a multi-use pathway for biking and stuff. This one is just the top of the dike. There's our third dog of the morning. It's really quite lovely out here today. I'm glad I came this way. I know, I like to turn and point the camera in different directions. I have had somebody that's complained more than once because they look for these things to walk with on their treadmills, and it's disconcerting. But I suppose I could do one straight ahead around the lake or something and label it just for treadmill users. Might be boring to other people though, just looking straight ahead the whole time. So I don't usually avoid the main pathways on Sundays because you get way more people on them. Now, do I go down here? Do I go a little further? I think I'll go down here and take the alleyway maybe. Somebody's unhappy. They're supposed to be having fun on the toboggan, but they don't like it. Sounds like. We're going to go up here and walk down the alley instead. That's my plan. And then resume zigzagging through streets. The child is happier now that she's being pulled on a sled and not whatever he was trying to do. Maybe she fell off. Or he, I can't really tell at that age from this distance. There's a happy dog over there too. Well, there are mice here that I might not necessarily see, so I've got to be careful. Playground over here, maybe where they're headed. Been in that house, quite a new house. There's the Davin School home tour. It's not called the Crescent School, and I don't know if the home tour is going because COVID would have squelched it for a while. But people would open their homes and volunteers would man them to keep them safe, and you'd have people visiting, taking a look at homes in the area. Oh, there goes a rabbit. Oh, and the dog's after him too. They really shouldn't let their dog do that. He's going to run into traffic. Oh, he came back. I guess that was far enough. Guess he knew his limits. And the rabbit got away. I didn't realize how much uphill this alleyway goes up here. It's interesting. Never registered it before until coming from this direction. It's quite a little climb up to the next street, which we're headed to, but oh, too late to get that one. It's sold. We're going to go around to the left here, though. I guess maybe Elphinstone is my limit. I'm not going all the way to Pasqua. Get home and Already 15 minutes in. I don't think I want to commit a full hour today, so which is what it would be if I kept going to Pasco Street. So this park is all really flood control area, but also a park. A lot of ice down at this end of it too. This is downhill, as I just noted. It'd be better to go higher up on the driveway here. At least there's some snow to give some grip. This brings us back up to College Avenue. Oh yeah, it is quite a little climb here. They're building a new house there, it looks like. And you've been working on it on a Sunday. It was an empty lot for a while. Across College, when and if it's safe, which it is at the moment. College Avenue. This is Athol Street now. Here's a nice clear sidewalk because this is the sunny side of the street. And there's been melting. Even yesterday when it was snowing, there was melting. As you can see, it didn't really stick to some of these sunnier yards along here. It stuck wherever there was already snow. It made it a little deeper. We will zig up Montague now. That's this street. What the sidewalk looks like. Well, not great on this side. Not in the middle anyway. Is the other side better? Walking down the middle of the street way down there, which is probably because they don't like the looks of Oh, I suddenly got an unstable internet connection. Why is that? It came back. Well, it wasn't like the other day when it turned into a slideshow. That may have been because I'd reached my data cap. Hi, Moira. Yeah, just a ramble around the neighborhood here. Actually, maybe I'll take the alley here for my next zig over. Might be more interesting. Or different, anyway. Is that Elphinstone there? Should be, yeah. So I'll go up the alley this way too, just to not hit Elphinstone too soon. Although, ice-wise, this doesn't look like a wise choice. I will be very, very careful. Pretty awful. Okay, this is why I shouldn't be taking the alleys, clearly. That's just a sheet of ice. I was looking at people's backyards, of course, doing it this way, which is if they have a porous fence that you can see through. Actually, somebody in the alley further up there. Wonder why. No, I'm not staying in the alley. That was enough of that. I will carry on to Elphinstone here. We look down 15th, I guess we're on. I expected this side to be better than it is, ice-wise. Okay, not going over there, just turning up Elphinstone here. So we get another unstable internet warning. I'll be around. Hi, Jolly. Oh, Meme Express. I didn't actually say hi. I just responded to your comment. Why am I getting the unstable internet connection? I apologize for buffering, any buffering you may be encountering at this time. And you may not have heard that if its buffering is bad enough. I may have to upload this one in a non-buffering format again. Used to do that all the time, but oh, this is awful. Well, that warning went away, so yay. Seems an odd place to get it on Elphinstone, which is a pretty major road. Look at this. It's just, these are people who haven't cleared their sidewalks enough. Although even if you have with the melt thing, even if you clear the sidewalk, the snow in the yard will melt and run across the sidewalk and make it icy. So I'm walking very slow here in spots. I see people jogging on this stuff, and I don't get that. I wouldn't dare. Okay, we will jog back in again. Our northern limit here is going to be 13th Avenue. So this takes us to 14th and Connaught School over there. Brand new school, replaced a very old school. We will go this way now. I'm going to walk on the sidewalk here. I mean, on the road. So I don't like the looks of the sidewalk along here. What time is it? It's 11:25 a.m. This is the kind of children's art gallery that's always here. I don't know where the artwork comes from. It's always... I would go closer, except there's nothing but ice on that sidewalk. Oof. Yeah, I don't know where the artwork comes from. It's always there. And it varies, like they keep replacing it. Bicycle route. Yay. I'm not on a bicycle, though. This is Montague. Might as well stay on the side on the road. Not a lot of traffic on a Sunday morning. Not a lot of traffic any time along here, but even less on a Sunday morning. These older houses. Little touch of colors always are nice in the winter. That actually looks like a new house made to fit in the neighborhood. All right, another zig or zag, don't know which. It's about -6, or it was when I set out, so icy. We had fresh snow yesterday, but it was warm enough that it didn't really stick to the roads. But it stuck to wherever there was already snow, which whitened everything up. A little bit of hoarfrost this morning, which makes it pretty. Pretty. All right, well, I think since I ended up here, I will walk through the park over there on my next leg, which will take us to the cathedral, Holy Rosary Cathedral. See, you get the houses like the one back there made to look like they belong to the neighborhood, and then you get a few of these more modern ones pop up. The mixture's okay. Not that anybody asked me. Early Learning Center, it says over here. Basically a kindergarten, I guess. Preschool. Back down toward the creek. We're going to walk behind this building. There is a path here, although it clearly hasn't been cleared, but it's beaten down. Another playground area. Nice colorful building. This will take us in behind what are now condos, but used to be the nunnery for the cathedral, which is now appearing through the trees dramatically. Holy Rosary Cathedral. And this brick building here is now condos, but was at one time, I believe, a nunnery. Has a lovely chapel in it that I've actually sung in. At least it had one. I presume it's still there. I don't know if it's a consecrated space anymore. I haven't been in the building in many years now, though. Okay, we'll go up in front of the cathedral, and then we'll head back down as we continue this sort of random walk. We've basically turned the corner and are closer to home. Oh, there's another rabbit. And a lot of ice. It's not too much of a hurry to get away from me. He doesn't think I'm too much of a threat. This is the west side of the cathedral, obviously. And there's probably services in there right now, being a Sunday. The cars have certainly pulled right up onto the sidewalk. Didn't have to be quite that close. They're actually on the curb, but the curb is under snow, so hard to tell. I don't know what they're doing. There's been a lot of all this construction, fencing, and I think they're digging something out inside. So some sort of renovations. All right, now we're on 13th. Right in front of the cathedral. There's the main entrance. 13th has a lot of, like some of these are still houses, but a lot of them have businesses in them. That's the 13th Avenue coffee shop on the corner there. And up here is Penny University Bookstore, which is a fine little independent bookstore that I recommend. They're over there, the Penny University. I haven't done a book launch or anything there because I haven't had a Regina author. But whenever I publish a Regina author again, and I do have Alison Lohan's picture book coming up this fall. She's from here. So that might be a good place to do something for that. I'll have to talk to her about that. We haven't set a release date yet, but it'll be this fall. I just revealed the cover art this week. That's Knox Westminster there. I'm not carrying on down 13th because I'm doing this random walk thing. So now we'll go down this way alongside Knox Presbyterian. Sorry, First Westminster United. Sorry, Westminster United. Ugh. Another place I've sung more than once has lovely acoustic, really. Choral things happening there. On occasion. There's the east side of the cathedral now. Sort of see the whole thing. If I get a little higher, you'll see the whole thing. I can't quite get the top of the towers in. Belfries, whatever they call them. Not really. One of them is a belfry, has bells, but not both of them. So I guess they're towers. There may be a churchy word for it that I'm unfamiliar with. This is the manse, the priests. Well, in this case, if it's still used that way, that's what it was anyway. And this is Holy Rosary School over here, and then the Catholic School Board office is right next to it. Right there. Separate school board. Guy on the other side of the street talking to himself. That probably means earbuds. I'm talking to myself too, for anybody looking or just hearing me. Used to be you heard somebody going down the street talking to themselves, you worried a little, but these days it's usually, though not always, somebody talking on a cell phone. Okay, we are back on 14th. You zig this way. I don't know what they're doing there, digging a hole for some reason. It's not a city vehicle, so I don't think it's water main or anything. Maybe they're doing something to their foundation or their basement. I'll cross over this side now. See the steam rising from the apartment buildings. Not a particularly well cleared sidewalk over here though, so I may regret this if I'm not careful. I always point out that old apartment building. That's where our piano, we have a grand piano that belonged originally to Madame Burkett, one of the early voice teachers in town, and she lived on the top floor of that apartment because she couldn't bear to have anyone over her head. Which means our grand piano, baby grand, still, was carried up and down the stairs of that apartment. Up once and down once, I would guess. Been in our living room for 70 years? Yeah, 70 years. Hasn't, well, when we did our renovations, they put a plywood box around it and put it on wheels and just moved it around as necessary. But it never left the living room. So it hasn't left the living room for 70 years. The house is 100 years old, or will be in 2 years. It's built in 26 and bought by my wife's grandparents in 1939. And her mother would have been 16. Some very, very boringly designed apartments. Just a brick box. I mean, at least they use different color brick, but other than that, not a lot of aesthetic contemplation went into that one. More ice. I always think of the Snow Queen's Anthem from my friend Robert Urson's children's opera version of the Snow Queen. One of the lines is, ice is nice and snow is pleasing, sleet is sweet, although our feet are freezing. Hail to the king, queen. The snow doesn't matter, our teeth will chatter. Hail to the queen. I was in the original production of that back in 94. So 30 years ago now. It was at the time just an hour long because it was designed for the Prairie Opera School tour, where we went to schools and we'd spend an hour or so incorporating children into the show, and then we'd do the show. So we could do 2 schools a day. We went all over the province. We also recorded it for CBC. In fact, I was listening to a little bit of it because it happened to be in my library on my iPhone, on the cloud actually. And I probably do sound 30 years younger, but I still remembered it pretty well. There's a patter song in it that I did. There was a lady in a castle with kings. There was a princess in a castle with a king who's very wealthy. No, that's not it. There was not a lady. He had a castle with a king who's very wealthy, and he's got a lovely daughter who's beautiful and healthy, and he loved her very dearly, and he thinks she should be married, so he made a proclamation and divorced it really carried. He gave it to the raven, saying, take it to the princess who can come and try to woo her from her laces and her chintzes. But remember, she wants someone to whom money doesn't matter. Someone who can always something and complete her with her chatter. And the raven flew away, saying, I'll be back the very next day. That's not bad for 30 years on. Word or two, I'd have to think about a bit, but there's another verse or two, then it gets interrupted, and then I have to do it faster. I would get interrupted, say, we're running out of time. So, I can do it. And then I pick up the pace. So the first part would have actually been slower than that. But by the time I did it fast, it would have been really fast. So I may do that. I'm planning to do a recital for my 65th birthday, a senior moment with Edward Willett. It's also been my wife's 60th birthday. We're like 2 months apart. So we're thinking of doing something, and I was thinking of doing a recital, 45 minutes or an hour of music, and I might put that in because Rob Urson, who wrote it and is my best man and good friend, directed me in many a production, and said he'll play for me if I can make the timing work. I think it'd be cool to do something from the Snow Queen, and that would be the one to do, just to prove I could still do it at that pace. My mind's not gone yet. Yes, quite a long time ago now. It's hard to believe that was 30 years ago. 30 years before that, I was only 4 years old, so that puts the space of time in perspective even more. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. No, someone's coming down the street. We are actually on Metallic, which takes me straight to our house, so I won't be zagging again. Been in that house, it's very nice. And in that one over there, too. Again, as part of the old Davin School home tours. This is Davin School over here. Somebody else talking to themselves as they walk along. That's where Alice went to elementary school, Davin School. They call it the Crescents now, but I'm always going to call it Davin. Even took the name carved in stone over the front door at Davin School. Even took that off. There's something very wrong about that, if you ask me. Erasing history because somebody held an opinion from the past that you don't like now. But I made my feelings known at the time, and it didn't make any difference. So Alice could literally be going up our back steps on the other side of this alley up here and say goodbye to her friends who are still in the playground and against the fence there. It was very, very handy. And the daycare she went to, after school daycare she went to, Dragon's Den, was there as well. So it all worked out really well for us. Connaught Crescent, which I don't walk down nearly as often as I do Angus or Leopold. This will be just about 45 minutes when I call it quits up here at the corner. 42 maybe. The woman in front of me is talking to somebody, but it's not English, so I can't even overhear. Right then, we will stop at this corner. And that will be it for today. Right here, we'll call it quits. So thanks for walking with me, and I should be back tomorrow. Bye for now.